Not every hard childhood was trauma. By the end of this one, you'll know exactly which list you belong on: discipline or control. Some truths don't shout, they sit quietly until you're ready to listen. Kukla, we have a problem in this generation. And I say this with love because I raised some of you myself, in a way. Everything is trauma now. Every strict parent is toxic. Every early bedtime is control. Every chore is parentification. I watch it all over social media. And I understand why. You finally got the language. And language you didn't have before feels like it should explain everything you didn't have before. But a word that explains everything ends up explaining nothing. So today, I want to actually separate the two things you've been calling by the same name. Here are 3 signs what you experienced was structure, not harm. Keeping in mind, there are always exceptions to the rule. Number 1, it applied to everyone in the house, not just you. Rules that existed for your siblings too, that existed before you were even difficult, are structure. Rules invented specifically to control you and only you, that could be different. Number 2, the reason, even if never explained well, existed. Bedtime existed because you had to wake up early for school. Chores existed because a house runs on someone's labor, and you were part of a family, and a family works together to keep the house running smoothly. You may not have liked the reason, but a reason being unstated is not the same as a reason not existing. Number 3, you can look back now and build a version of the rule yourself for your own life, and it still makes sense to you. If you find yourself as an adult choosing structure that resembles what you were given, that's not proof of damage. Sometimes it's proof the structure worked. Before I get to the next part, comment structure or harm, depending on which list you just heard yourself in. I read every single one. Also, tap the like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode of What Would Jaya Do? Now, here are 3 signs it was not structure. It was actually harm. Number 1, it was unpredictable. Structure is steady. Harm is a rule that changes depending on someone's mood. So you're never actually safe and only ever guessing. Number 2, it came with contempt, not correction. There is a world of difference between you broke a rule and you are the kind of person who breaks rules. One corrects behavior, the other tells you who you are. And children believe what they're told about who they are. Number 3, it isolated you. Not just in the moment, but as the shape of the whole house. Every child feels alone during a punishment, a timeout, a grounding, a door closed for an hour. That's not the tell. The tell is what happens after. Did the distance end when the punishment did? Were you let back in? Real discipline closes the gap again. Real harm makes the gap the normal temperature of the house you live in. A man wrote to me and said his father made him run a mile every time he lied or broke a house rule. He was furious about it for years. He genuinely believed it was invented just to embarrass or hurt him. I asked him one question: what happened when the mile was over? He said his father was always waiting for him at the end, sat him down, still catching his breath, and actually talked to him about the lie or broken rule. Not a lecture, a real conversation about why he'd felt that he needed to lie or break the rule in the first place. Kukla, that's not a punishment designed to hurt a child. Yes, punishment is designed to be a pain point because pain is a great deterrent. But the running wasn't the whole point. It was the pause before the conversation that might never have happened otherwise. Time to cool off. then time to actually talk. Some may consider it an ugly delivery. Maybe. But there was real intention underneath it. Structure wearing a costume that looked, from a distance, like control. Here's why this actually matters, beyond just being accurate. As long as you're deciding whether it was structure or harm, you're still standing at the courthouse door. You're spending your only life as a lawyer for a case that might never get a verdict. Because the only witness who could confirm it is a version of your parent that existed 40 years ago and probably doesn't exist anymore. So here's what I want you to actually build instead. And I mean that literally, not as a metaphor you nod at and forget. Stop asking, was it wrong? Start asking, what do I do with what it built in me? If it built caution, decide if that caution still serves you or if it's time to retire it. If it built independence, keep the independence and lay down the loneliness that came attached to it for free. You do not need the verdict to do this work. You only need to look honestly at what is actually standing in front of you now and decide, piece by piece, what stays and what comes down. You don't have to rush, but you do have to be honest. I'll see you in your second act.